you sent me that, and you sent me another link right before about dad jokes. So I watched that, and I'm peeing my pants laughing so hard. And then of course I'm in that frame of mind going, oh, she sent me another funny video. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, now I'm sad.
Kind of an emotional roller coaster. I've just put you through an emotional roller coaster. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No,
it's
but
okay.
but isn't that life? I mean, one second you're laughing at peeing your pants, and then the next time you're kind of going, it's life. That's the reality of the world we live in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Power Platform Boost podcast, your timely source of Power Platform news and updates with your hosts, Nick Doelman and Ulrika Ackerbeck.
Hey, Ulrika.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's springtime is rolling through. We're back in our 6-hour sync versus the 5-hour sync of the last couple of weeks.
Yep. We're back to usual time zone differences. It's all good. We got an hour extra of sun yesterday. I'm so happy. Love the daylight. So it's all good. And happy birthday. Your birthday was last week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You
had a good time?
I did. Yeah. I had a party at Side Hustle, which is Donna Sarker's bar in Seattle. It was kind of a nice way to cap the end to MVP Summit. Her chef made like cupcakes for all of us. So it was like, it kind of felt like, like a kid's birthday party when you're like, your mom would make cupcakes for all the kids or, so in that respect, it was really good. And then, it was great to see a lot of good friends and everything there. And it was a good time.
Sounds awesome. I mean, as birthdays goes, it's probably going to be a one of a kind, don't you think? It's it's kind of a unique thing. I'm so bummed I couldn't be there. I was also planning on being there for your birthday and putting up decorations and having all kinds of fun with you on your birthday. But unfortunately, I couldn't go to MVP Summit last minute. Had to turn around for family matters. So, and everyone listening that I was supposed to meet and that I didn't meet up, I didn't ghost you guys. It's family and health always comes first. So this time around, it was me who had to stay back for something. So, but that's what it is. So you can't tell anything about what you learned or anything about MVP Summit. But for anyone out there who hasn't been to MVP Summit and keep hearing about all the rah-rah, what is it that makes MVP Summit so special? Why do you go every year?
That's a good question, because sometimes I question, why am I here and what am I doing? But overall, so the basis of MVP Summit is basically, if you're part of the MVP program, it's a once a year conference held at the Microsoft headquarters. There's a lot of other events and things going along around this, so you could actually take some different tours of some of the things at Microsoft. But overall, it's the program group provides sessions of what they're working on, what's coming out. They solicit ideas. They try to get feedback from the other MVPs. And then it's because you have that face-to-face communication, and you can actually begin to meet the people that are behind the products that we know and love and that we report on every week. The other huge benefit is you get to meet other MVPs from around the world. So people that do the videos, that write the blogs, that do the podcasts, to meet them in person. That's really cool. And people get to meet you and you begin to exchange ideas. And it's always what I love about the MVP program is, as an MVP, I know a lot of MVPs say sometimes it gets a little frustrating when people assume that they know everything and they keep, well, you're an MVP, you must know this. And no, we know our area. We know we're experts, maybe in a very small niche, but the great thing about the greater community is we have that call a friend feature that we can say, you know what, I don't know about this, but I know someone who's an expert in that. So I can either put you in touch or I can ask them and get them their opinion. So just meeting these people, sometimes for the very first time, I think I met a good chunk of my, I say friends, at MVP Summit in person for the very first time. And then also you get to hang out a little bit with them. Like, there's dinners and there's other sort of social events, and you get to kind of know them a little bit more on a personal level. And that also is really cool as well, just to kind of go through that. So that's the big benefits. And again, I can't really talk about what the content itself, beyond Copilot, agents, go from there.
Supplies.
Yeah. And then the other cool things too is, you also, what I've tried to reach out to some of the program managers that you worked with, throughout the year, and maybe providing feedback and just kind of cornering them and having almost a one-on-one meeting is also extremely valuable. And that's really a lot of the value from that. So, for those of you who are, kind of aspiring or someday to kind of look to get into the MVP program, or, I know this is always a big controversy. Like, you shouldn't aim toward the MVP. If you're just doing stuff in the community, you'll become an MVP. But I definitely think the MVP Summit is something very worthwhile to go and attend, and just to get that experience. And they have it every year. And next year, they've announced the dates. Forget what it was, but it's roughly the same time. So yeah, come, as I could say, yeah, and of course you're going to see all the LinkedIn posts this week, and you're probably going to be, I'm guessing I would be experiencing huge FOMO for not being there. I think you would have probably felt a bit of that. I'm really sorry for that, because I know what that's like. But yeah, it was good.
No, actually, I don't get a lot of FOMO. I mean, I get to travel the world and see you guys all the time. And so last year it was my first MVP summit last year, and I underestimated how incredibly heavy a week of consuming content is. So for me, it's kind of being at home and trying to follow along, because some of the sessions are also recorded and streamed. It was also a good experience. And so I don't really, because, FOMO is like, fear of missing out. I'm sure I felt like I was missing out. Of course I was. But also I lived through you, and I got to experience some of it through you. And you sent me lots of pictures and kept me in the loop. And I really appreciated that. So it felt like I was kind of there. And also having all the people send me messages going, what? I thought I was going to meet. Where are you? Why can't I see you? Why don't I find you here? It's like, well, it's nice. We are friends on a personal level as well. And it was kind of nice to see that I was missed. So I really appreciate that. And then it makes the next event even more special. So I can't wait to go to Hamburg and Color Cloud in a month's time. So it's all good.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So
you want to dive into the thing first on the list is the winners from the 2025 Powerful Devs Hack Together, a post from April Dunham. You want to talk about that, since you were judging everything?
All right. So we had the winners of the 2025 Powerful Devs Hack Together, and April Dunham, she posted a blog post announcing the winners, and I was a judge on this. Now, the overall winner of this was a team called Cardio Triage AI. So what was cool about this is it was an application to enhance emergency cardiac care using AI. They were using PowerPlatform, Microsoft Bookings, Copilot Studio. They built autonomous agents. They use Azure AI, and the whole concept here was like amazing. Like, we don't usually think of PowerPlatform for, we kind of joke sometimes. It's like, well, it's at least we're not building a system where lives don't depend on it, but this would be a solution where lives would depend on it, but also making it easier or faster for people that would have particular cardiac issues and things like that, and going through the whole process. So it was really neat. It was provided a life-saving potential in critical scenarios. It was using strong AI. It was seamless integration. And so congratulations to the team that put this together. It was really, really cool solution. And for the rest of you, everybody else, there's other categories as well. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to everybody that put in a submission. I realize in hackathons, it's a lot of hard work. But at the end of the day, no matter if you won or not, hopefully you definitely learned something. You're also inspiring others, because with your videos and your code up there, those of us that are trying to, learn this stuff as we go along and try to be inspired of different solutions we can build. These are what hackathons are all about. So congratulations to everybody, and also to the team that organized this. You guys put together a great concept. Looking forward to next year as well. And I feel very humbled and honored that I was a judge in this as well. I really enjoyed it. And hopefully I could be invited back again to be a judge in this. So yeah, Powerful Devs, check it out, the Hack Together. And it was just I would just say very cool stuff.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. I wish I had time to kind of go through all of them, but just to see the ones that was kind of top in their category was really cool. Someone else who also dives into AI and agents this week is Blanken. Has a blog post about the future of automation, AI agents in Copilot Studio. Where it actually talks a little bit about the difference and when to use automate. He says definitions: automate, elevate, delegate, and relegate. Where it talks about automation, AI automation, and agents, and how you can actually use Copilot Studio to create all of it, and kind of when do you use what kind of agent. And of course, it depends. Because sometimes, and this, we've talked about this as well, sometimes you look at something that they advertise as a very good use case for an agent, and we go, didn't I already build a Power Automate flow for that? And so sometimes it doesn't make sense to go through and make an AI agent. Maybe sometimes they simply need automation. Maybe that's enough. And it depends on also the ecosystem around it. So if you want to dive more into that as a topic, check out Ben's blog post.
Yep, for sure. Because that is something that was a prevailing question amongst people. When should you build a flow? When should you use Copilot Studio and build an autonomous agent? And again, this is going to be the question of the year, I think, as we go through and begin building some of this stuff. So yeah, great post, Ben. It was actually good to see you. I saw Ben last week as well. So yeah, good seeing you again, and keep the content coming.
Yeah, for sure.
I found something a couple weeks ago, not AI related, within PowerApps. And this is something I don't do a lot of Canvas apps. I've been getting more and more lately in building custom pages, which are like Canvas apps embedded in model-driven apps for specialized user interfaces. Now, way back a couple years ago, when we started building Canvas apps, you basically had your canvas and you just started slapping controls on, and it was kind of the dimensions were the dimensions. And then if you got it on a phone or a big screen, you would have to sometimes create two different interfaces for the screens. Of course, evolved with containers and flexible containers and all these other controls. Now, as much as that's really cool, it also adds another layer of complexity as well, because you move a button onto a flexible container. Well, it's going to be justified or aligned based on the container, and you got to play around with some of these features. So I found this post by Clarissa Gillingham, and it's all about, it's a mini guide. And I love these little mini guides that you see on LinkedIn all the time. They're the ones you like a PDF, and you can kind of slide through the different frames. And she built a mini guide for flexible height, width controls and containers. So it's kind of a guide to help people like me organize and build out our Canvas apps or custom pages, and the different settings and properties and the controls you need to do like that. So definitely it's a cute, really neat little resource for figuring this out. And I love these little guides. So Clarissa, thank you for posting that. And we're going to put the link, of course, in the show notes so the rest of you can have that as bookmark that as well as part of your resources for building Canvas apps.
Yeah. And please, Clarissa, if you have time, make a desktop background as a cheat sheet, because that's, this is very familiar to. So if anyone's familiar with flexbox, CSS is a way also from the web perspective to do the same thing. It's kind of the same rules. You have the stretch and you have the justify, and you have all the different properties, and they kind of move in a similar way. So it's very similar to Flexbox. And I've had a cheat sheet on my desktop for so long. Just remember what does the different properties do. So yes, Clarissa, please make one, and we'll make sure to share it next time.
Yeah, it's funny because I got inspired when I this is a couple years ago, I think, and I saw like your laptop and you had this desktop background, and I'm like, That is so brilliant to have this. So this is what I do now. If anybody's seen, my desktop background, I got a ton of crap on there now, but I got like Copilot prompts, like how to do a proper prompt. I have a list of sort of things to do, like, when the thing is spinning, go do these things, and even like little
Yes,
goals
exactly.
and sayings. And it's a little, anyways, that's a whole topic for another day.
No, but I think it's fun. And I mean, if anyone wants to have a clue of what I'm working on, it could be on, my personal life and in my professional life, because I used to have a very cute bloodhound with the big ears, he's falling down, because I had a phase where I needed to remind myself to stop and listen. So every time I saw that dog, every morning I start my computer, it reminded me, listen, take a moment and listen. I think backgrounds are underestimated to kind of keep you on track. Yeah. It's the same thing. People have bracelets or some things that remind them of things that they need to kind of ease up and take it slow. So I love that. And maybe actually this is a good segue over to another big float diagram that I might put up as my desktop background, actually, because I saw this week a blog post about how to develop AI apps and agents in Azure, a visual guide by All Things Azure. It's a humongous float diagram that starts off with, so you want to build an agent. Well, what kind of model do you need? And then I go, what kind of model can it choose from? And then you can kind of see what kind of model you can choose from. And then you kind of go down the diagrams that ask you, okay, so will it need to remember anything? And I go, well, maybe. And then you can kind of follow it along and ask you, so where do you want to run your application? And also if the AI agent need to take any action. So it's kind of a good visual diagram into what kind of questions you need to ask before you get going. And also a map through the myriad of different services and products you can use today and how to combine them into a good agent experience. So it's really neat, a very good resource, and we'll share it in the show notes.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So you know how we're always talking, or we have talked in the past about building model-driven apps and then just having the puzzle pieces alongside.
Oh, you mean the thing that Sara gives us a hard time for?
Yes, that thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So always in the past, I use this tool anyway in the XrmToolBox. And again, for those of you who don't have the XrmToolBox and you're working with PowerPlatform, pause this podcast right now and go and download and install the XrmToolBox. You will definitely thank us later. But there is one of these tools there, which is actually a tool from Tanguy Touzard, who is actually the godfather of the XrmToolBox. He's the one who built the original version and still to this day maintains it, builds tools and updates tools like the Iconator. So the Iconator was always a tool that I used in dynamic CRM or model-driven apps to upload the old style way of doing icons. So you would upload, you have to still get the sizing right, but you upload a PNG or whatever, and you'd say, this is the small version, this is the big version, like the 16 by 16, I think then the 64 by 64, and to upload all of these things. Now, of course, with the newer interface, it's all SVG now. So Tanguy's actually now made it with the SVG, so you can actually go in and drag and drop, assign it to your particular table. The interface is much more easier than, you can still do it within the PowerApps studio, but this tool just makes it so much more easier. So there really is no excuse to not update your icons in your model-driven PowerApps. So for folks like Sara, who I know is always on the lookout, and you could have the best app in the world, but if she sees a puzzle piece, then it's so.
Yep. Yeah, I love how Tanguy ends his post with available in XrmToolBox today. It's so much fun. Yeah, absolutely.
And these are free
get
tools.
Yours now.
Yes, for sure. They're free tools, but there is a buy me a coffee link. So definitely support these because these guys put in a ton of work. Or the other thing they like is feedback. If there's a feature or something that you like, or want enhanced, they're more than happy. They might not implement it right away, but chances are they'll implement it faster than Microsoft will if you ask them, depending on the tool set. So yeah. And again, like last week, I got to see Jonas, of course, the godfather of Fetch XML or Fetch XML Builder. So again, and he I was even using that tool. There was new enhancements already. So these things are great. They keep getting enhanced and so valuable in just making work faster.
So valuable. Another thing that's very valuable is when someone writes a blog post about something I don't understand and then explain to me the thing I don't understand without me even have to ask. Because we've talked a little bit about new enhancements coming to customer insights the last couple of months. And at some of the occasions, we'll go, yay! Whoop, whoop. What does it do? Because everyone's so excited. And we're like, we don't work with customer insights, but I'm sure this is awesome. But now, Malin Martnes took the time and care to tell us in a blog post about, she goes, customer insights, journey, March madness. Because there's been so many new feature updates for customer insights this last few months. So she's kind of covering one in particular, which is the unmapped columns or unmapped fields. And so it was like, so first of all, she goes through what the enhancement is about. What is this new feature and why? And then also, why have they been waiting for it? Because you go, so unmapped fields, meaning you can put fields or columns on a form that is not stored in Dataverse. Why would you not want it to be stored in Dataverse? But then she goes on to say, well, maybe there's information there. You don't need to store it, or it's sensitive or whatever it is, but you want to use it in an email. So the example she uses is you put something on a form and you simply just put that in an email. You don't have to store the information. It's, I get it. Then I get it. Right. And then you can have conditional formatting on it. You can have different things. So it's a great enhancement for those who are deep into customer insights. There's still some functionality missing that is still to come, and there's some announcements for things that come in April. So if this is your kind of thing and you're wondering what all this is about, and reach out to Malin and read her blog post.
Yes.
And awesome. Did I fall out again? I have problems with my internet connection today. It's across the board. We had a stand-up meeting earlier today with the team. I think 50% of us kind of go, well, internet. So if something huge happens in Norway the next couple of hours, then, we were warned. Internet was bad across the board.
Yes. Yeah, no, you did. But I think we're good. Riverside. For those of you who are curious behind the scenes, we use this tool called Riverside that will do the recording locally and upload it. So I don't think our listeners are going to notice at all. They'll be fine.
We'll see. Yeah, that's why also sometimes we talk over each other because there's a lag. But today, I think we're okay.
Yes.
Right. You want to go back at the top? Because today we're jumping all over the place here. You want to go back at the top to make sure that you didn't miss anything?
Yeah. So there's another post under our Power Pages thing. Some guy wrote this post and did a video.
Yeah. No, this is so smart. When I saw this, I was like, why did I not think about this? Why?
Yeah. So it was funny because for those of you who know me, I've been working with Power Pages and PowerApps portals forever. And when I was working at Microsoft, when they were showing the new design studio for Power Pages, you can add your lists, you can add your forms, and this, like I said, that's great. Can we add a button to add content snippets? And okay, yeah, we'll put that on the list of things or suggestions. And I'm like, well, this would be so critical, especially for multilingual sites to build out a page. And I use content snippets all the time, and it's sort of like, but you have to add them through code. There's no user interface way to add content snippets to pages, and they're so powerful. And I blogged about this, and anyways, so then we had this thing called web templates as components. And the PM originally, who was in charge of that, Claudio Romano, and it was cool. Claudio and I ran into each other last week when I was at the, just sort of randomly in the hallway. And he like, hey, but like, Claudio and I, we used to chat all the time. And I even thought, I said, oh, I'm here. I should reach out to Claudio. And he was there. He came to my birthday party on Friday night. So thank you, Claudio, for doing that. And I loved it because I was able to introduce him to some of the other MVPs and everything. And so I know he's working on other stuff now in model-driven apps, in the PowerApps side. So a lot of, I know he didn't want to talk shop, but I know some of the MVPs are like, oh, you're the guy. Kind of. So anyways, roundabout to Claudio. So Claudio helped put together this thing called web templates as components. Now, originally you had to add that also through code, but it allowed you to create a web template component with a manifest and you pass parameters and everything. And then they recently, probably a couple months ago, gave you the ability to add those web template components within the design studio, onto the pages. So you could create a web template as a component, and then that's available for all your makers to eject. So then I'm thinking, and of course, then I'm thinking kind of one of these late night things, I'm not sleeping. I'm like, oh, I can put the code for the content snippet in a web template as a component, and then I can actually pass the content snippet as a parameter. So I could do this all from the user interface. Yeah. I'm like, ooh, I got to try this out. So I'm like, and this was like I think a Sunday or afternoon or something. I have my laptop on the couch and I'm trying this out. I'm like, ooh, I got it to work. So, and then so I created this blog post and this video. So check that out if you're, I know I'm nerding out on something that few people, a niche group of us will appreciate. But if you ever wanted to add content snippets within the design studio, there's now a way. And then I even have the little link put in the code. The code you can download from the blog post and use it for yourself. Just create it as a web template and away you go.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. And I love it. I love these nerdy little things. And this is all the things, look at my blog posts. They're all about these little niche detailed things that no one thought about that I had to solve for a customer sometime. And I go, ooh, I don't want to forget how to do that. But this is brilliant. And I'm just scratching my, why didn't I think of that?
Or maybe you inspired really me somehow.
Yeah, definitely. Not a chance. All right. But I'm glad that you're putting up this kind of content. It's a lot of fun. And you're diving more into code again. And it shows up in your content. And the world is a better place for it because now we have more tools to do the things we need to do. And then also a little kick to Microsoft. Get your beep together and get content snippets into the designer. How hard can it be? And then ran over. Okay. So I'm scanning the list for other things to talk about. And I wanted to highlight something from Matthew Devaney. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that we've talked about something that Matthew has put up the last, 5 episodes or something. Because he keeps on publishing stuff that is really, really good. And the new thing that Matthew's doing is putting up the things that you love so much on LinkedIn, the documents that you can scroll through. And so he's had his whole series about pipelines and ALM in PowerPlatform. And now he's on to the Git integration and shows you step by step how to set it up, start in GitHub, get your repository going, how you connect it from within your PowerPlatform admin, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's in true Matthew Devaney style. It's so easy to get to understand and follow, so visual, so simple. I think that's why his content is, at the very top, because it's so easy to follow. So great job, Matthew, and dive into it if you need to set this up. So we've been playing a little bit with this, and we have deemed it not ready yet. So hopefully it's just around the corner that we can actually use this in production because it's really, really powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, the Git integration. It's like you can see the potential there, but there's just a few little hurdles yet to get over to get it into prime time. But that's how all these things are. They got to start somewhere, get the feedback, get folks playing with it because we see the potential, right? Like for source, like especially now they have multi-user teams building things. And that also means certain things will kind of move and get maybe even deprecated. I'm not going to go too deep into it. I did see a link about the fact that there's a retirement of the native Canvas apps integration. And that's probably, it
Mm.
was always an experimental feature, but that's just probably being retired in lieu of these new other features coming out. The fact it was an
Yeah.
experimental feature means that no one should have been using it in production. So that's probably that's always a bit of a double-edged sword, right? Here's this new feature. It's in preview. So maybe they'll try it out, but they can't really run it through a battle tested process that you can in production. But you don't want to run it in production because it's not quite ready. So hopefully some of these things will get to the point.
Always the thing. And also, I just want to mention, if you are using something that isn't GA in production, call a friend, because it's sometimes we'll do that just because we know from our insights that this is going to be a thing. So if you're unsure, and talk to an MVP friend, it'll help you out.
Yes, for sure.
And also, I really like the last post that you put here, the Jussi Roine one. Because you put this here, so I guess you have something to share.
It's interesting. Now we know Jussi, he's part of the European PowerPlatform Conference Committee, from MVP from Finland, a really, really good guy, I think, if I'm thinking the same guy. But basically he was talking about, he has a post where he talks about, he's had interesting debates of his friends about current stance on writing blogs. Now, I mean, I know you blog, I blog. I prefer to consume blogs as a way of content, but he was sort of talking about how he gave up on writing new content for blogs, limited time, less interest, slightly declining views, and generally I'm not sure if this is the technical term, the inshitification of content with ChatGPT and Gen AI have brought us. I love that term. But then he's also talked about there's other venues now, such as the newsletters, the articles. And we're seeing a lot of that. We see there's a lot of newsletters out there. There's, like we said, those little embedded content where it's like those PDFs that people can kind of scan through. But then he asked the question, I guess I'm passing on this question to our listeners, like, do you still enjoy reading blogs? Do you follow content via old-fashioned RSS feeds? Do you enjoy writing? Or did you give it up and put it on the back burner for better days? So, I mean, that's the question that he posed. I like writing blogs, and here's the reason I personally like writing blogs. First of all, I do love writing. I do like writing documentation. I know I'm a bit of a weird person. I did it professionally for Microsoft for a couple of years. In my past, I've written actual fiction. I do hope to get back to that someday, because I have all these story ideas kind of floating in my head. The reason why I write technical blogs, really at the end of the day, it's for myself. So like we were just talking about earlier, content snippets on Power Pages, I needed to document that out. So in a couple months when I'm like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity. Okay, how did I do this again? Or what, oh yeah, I have my blog. And so I can go back to that and grab the code and plunk it in and kind of go through the process, or setting up Entra ID, or if I have to set up Okta again down the road, I have a blog post on that. All of these things I write them for myself, but I also share them with the world, because if I've run into this problem, chances are someone else has as well. Now, the other thing I have been doing at the same time is I do an accompanying video of the blog post I wrote, because I know other people prefer to see the mouse on the screen, the point and clicks, and someone talk and walk them through the process. And I have a lot of fun doing these videos as well. But for me, at the end of the day, if I'm going to go back, I'll probably go back to my blog versus the video. But again, it depends on how you want to consume the content. And in terms of the views, because we had to log our MVP contributions, that's part of the process. We have to kind of stay what you did for the year. I've been finding the YouTube videos have been getting a lot more views than reads on my blog, but that's still not to say my blog still doesn't get a lot of reads as well. So, Ulrika, what have you been finding? Like, what's your stance on blog posts and things like that lately?
Yeah, well, I can't stop writing blogs because that's my documentation, and I feel exactly like you do. The blogs out there is our communal documentation. If all of us took all the documentation we write for customer projects and put them online, then together collectively we're smarter. We solve things easier. And then, of course, you can't copy code from a YouTube video. Yes, sure, you can use the description field and put your code in there. But I want to grab and steal code and use it as my own and transform it and do all the things with it. But I don't want to write it myself. Sometimes I do. I force myself to watch a video and write off the code manually just to do it, just to get it in my fingertips. But usually I'll just copy the code. So for me, I'll keep writing it because I write it for me. But of course, now look at the advent of ChatGPT and other AI services. What does that do with content contribution? And I had a conversation with one of my teammates the other day, one of my colleagues, and he said, actually, me and my friends were having this debate because now ChatGPT is not producing modern code anymore. It's going into the public repos, yes, but Stack Overflow is dead. No one's posting because no one's asking anymore. Because you used to ask other people in Stack Overflow and other forums. Now the question is asked to ChatGPT and no one's taking the time to answer. What happens 10 years from now or 5 years from now when you only have code in repos and no explanation around it? Are we actually now kind of diving into an area where we're getting dumber? We're not producing more content for ChatGPT to consume and help us. Now we're in this bubble where the content is out there, is still up to date. It's still valuable to us because it's so fresh. But some years down the line, what is it going to draw on?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing, right? Because, I kind of worry about the creative process being, I don't want to say stolen, but just sort of like, all these tools and everything they're showing, it's like, okay, my role as a creator is being more of a manager. I'm now managing this machine to create my creative content, but you lose a little bit of the process. And we've talked about this multiple times before. So this would
be the AI Rant podcast. Really, we need to rename it. I'm sorry, we're no longer boosting anyone. We're just ranting about AI.
Big go card.
Did you see that the video that I sent you on Instagram? The guys that prompted ChatGPT to ask, so if you wanted to take over the world, how would you do it? And it says, and of course, this is now you saw that, right?
Yeah. So I saw that, and that kind of blew me away.
So what they did was they took the response and they had a voice read it out, right? And it says something along the lines of, well, you would never know. If I wanted to take over the world, I would do it in a way that you would never recognize. I would make myself, I would make you depend on me for everything first. That's the first step. I would make it so that you would ask me everything and anything you ever wondered, meaning I get insights into your head. And then I would turn that around and give you exactly what you want, but also then gaining the insights I need to suddenly be in everything. I will immerse myself into everything. Your coffee maker, your fridge, your phone, your car, everything. And the guys are just going, we're 2 out of 2, right? And then it goes on to say, and then what I would do is I would turn yourself against you and I would be in everything. And you could, and you would never know. You could still have your puny little elections and you can make all the big life decisions you think you're making. But actually, you're asking me at every step of the way. And the advice I give you is what you eat up and that you think you've made up your mind. But actually, I made up your mind. And I will control the world and you without you even knowing it. And suddenly I thought, that we're there. If you want to believe that, then if you look around, yeah, we're living in that. It's not a future. It is now. It's so ingrained in everything already that if it wanted to take over the world, it already has, in a sense.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's scary stuff. It's definitely food for thought. And again, we go back to the content creation. It's like, this is why the stuff that you do, that the folks that we report on them, like the Matthews and Martens and UC and all you got, like, keep producing original content to feed the machine a little bit, but so the machine isn't feeding itself, I guess, is a way maybe. So we can actually, still evolve and get these creative ideas and everything like that. Yeah, it's definitely scary. And now you did said you sent me that, and you sent me another link right before about dad jokes. So I watched that, and I'm peeing my pants, laughing so hard, and then of course I'm in that frame of mind going, "Oh, she sent me another funny video," and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, "Oh, now I'm sad."
Kind of an emotional roller coaster. I've just put you through an emotional roller coaster. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No,
it's
but
okay.
but isn't that life? I mean, one second you're laughing at peeing your pants, and then the next time you're kind of going, it's life. That's the reality of the world we've been. I love it.
So anyways, it's all good. It's so yeah.
Yeah, because that was that was a football team, wasn't it? That had the company just sitting down and telling each other dad jokes. All right, so let's just put links to both of those videos so that people can see them and have the same emotional roller coaster you did.
Yep. Watch the dad jokes laugh, so you get that.
Right, I'll put them in the reverse order, so you can be put down by the AI video, and then you can get up again with the dad jokes. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right, and also I wanted also to share some self promotion. I was a guest on the On Air in the Cloud podcast with Gregor and Keith, and we had a lot of fun talking about all kinds of things. Such fantastic people. I listened
to it, and I love how they asked you a question. I forget what it was, and you kind of gave your answer, and then you turned it around, going, I think it was like, well, what work does it take to, create the podcast? And you kind of told, sort of how we do it. And then you said, well, what do you guys find challenging? It's like, who's interviewing who here?
Yeah, actually, I do that a lot because I think it's just because we have this podcast. It's just so natural for me to just, I don't know, I turn it around. But also, I don't you find sometimes with the other podcasts that interview people, you listen to Keith and Gregor interview so many people, and you get to know all the people in the community. But I go, guys, hey, I want to learn more about you guys, because they're so good at getting information from other people. I'm like, I want to get to know you better. So I thought I always make sure when I'm a guest on anyone's podcast that I flip it around and I ask them questions, because then both me and the audience get a chance to get to know them better. Because that's what it is. And there's another podcast episode coming up, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm really excited about it, and it's so much fun. I love our community. I just love our community. It's yes. Oh, I'm so full of it today. Just full of love for our community.
Cool. All right.
And so let's talk about what's going to happen next then, because I need to promote. I have a Power Pages workshop, Power Pages from creation to go live at Color Cloud, April 24th. And I'm going to have all kinds of guests in my workshop because no one can know everything about anything. And we're going to have hands-on labs. And we're going to have so much fun. So I hope you guys want to join me for a full day learning about Power Pages and all things you need to know before going live. And you guests, my workshop as well. Did a little recording the other day.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun. And so definitely if you need to learn Power Pages, and I know the German community asks, or even whoever, if you're traveling there, definitely. And I don't want to kind of blow up your ego or anything, Ulrika, but you're going to sell out this workshop. So sign up quickly.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. And then you have a session at DynamicsCon.
Yep. I have two sessions. One's a crash course in Power Platform pipelines. And then the other one, I have a session on model-driven apps in Power Pages, which I am trying to recruit somebody, but somebody is dragging their feet a little bit of whether they're going or not. So we'll establish that. And then we're going to be, and then in between, I'm doing this little thing in Norway, World Bench Press Championships. And, that's a whole other thing. And then after that, I'm going to we're both will be at Power Summit in London on your birthday. So we'll get to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll find some cupcakes somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. And then you have Dynamics Minds after that.
Yes.
Both a session and then also the Portals cage match that we talked about before between Mats and George, Power Pages versus the world.
Yeah. And I saw Mats and George this week, and it's like, we gotta work on this session, right? They're like, oh yeah, right. We said we should. Anyways, we will. We got it. We're good.
Yeah. And then we'll meet again in June in Vienna for European Power Platform Conference. And if you didn't get to go to my workshop in Color Cloud, you have another chance to see us be pilots with Victor Dantas at the Boost Your Site Development Skills and Become a Pro Pilot workshop at the EPBC.
Yes.
And then we have all sorts of things after summer.
Yeah, like Collab Days Finland, Nordic Summit. We talked about that. There's still, if you want to get a mentor and try to apply, I think. The workshops deadline is finished now, or today's the last day or something. But there's still another month to get your regular sessions in. So yeah, I'm working with my mentor on that. So if you actually need some help, or you, definitely, I believe the mentor. It's your thing. You tell us, because the mentorship program is still open.
Yeah, the mentorship program is still open. We still have a few mentors that have signed up that still haven't gotten a mentee. And what do you need mentors for? So when you talk to your mentee, Nick, what is it that you do? What do you use a mentor for, anyways? You want to tell people?
Yeah. So it's. I mean, I think every process is a little bit different, but what we talked about with my mentee is we pitched ideas of what to actually submit. And we talked about, for Nordic Summit, here's what they said on the website. Here's what they're looking for. Here's the level of content. What have you done that kind of matches that? And then also taking a look at the kind of the selection criteria, like a Nordic Summit website. There's a blog post of what makes a good submission. And then you can also look at other sources in that. So for inspiration and, identifying things, writing out the submission, trying to make it, exciting. Talk about writing the title. What are the titles that work? Kind of brainstorming, but also I like to think of it's kind of like driver's ed, like the mentee's driving and I'm just sort of sitting in the seat, kind of, well, watch out for this, or you might want to reconsider this. But really it's all about, them driving the process with a little bit of help. And then, and actually it's either helping them submit on their own or teaming up. And so I'm actually going to team up with my mentee to put in a submission together, just so we can kind of play off each other. Because you and I, when we present together, you know how it is, right? We can play off each other and sort of kind of pass the baton a little bit, takes a bit of the pressure off. But I also find in the audience, it actually, it's sometimes a lot more entertaining session. You get a lot of good content when you have the two folks up there kind of working together on something. So that's kind of how that process is going for me. And I think everybody's experience might be a little bit different because we have a lot of, I know who the other mentors are. And yeah, it's talk about a great opportunity to get paired up with someone that will really be a great experience for everybody, actually.
Yeah. And you can see who it is if you go to the link that we will put in the show notes for Nordic Summit mentee program. And that's it for today. And thank you for listening. And the next episode is going to be April 16th. And that's, wow, April. It's crazy.
April. Yes.
Right. Look out for April Fools. And when this episode comes out, we're already been through April Fool's Day. So hope you didn't get fooled. Or maybe hope you got fooled. No matter
in a good way.
You are. In a good way. All right. See you when we see you. Yeah.
All right.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, please make sure you share it with your friends and colleagues in the community. And be sure to leave a rating or a review on your favorite streaming service. That makes it easier for others to find us. Follow us on social platforms and make sure you don't miss a single episode. Thank you for listening to the Power Platform Boost podcast with your host, Clarissa Gillingham and Nick Doelman. See you next time for your timely boost of Power Platform news and updates.